Alright, David Harry here, and I'm just going out for my little half hour of walking exercise today. And I just thought to myself, I know, I'll do a little bit of a vlog thing while I'm doing this. And this is all to do with my experiences with the GoPro Hero 8 Black during the first, 4 or 5 months of me having it now. So let me just cross this unusually not so busy main road right now. This is actually rush hour, but what I'm going to do is not cross it talking anyway. Okay, so I'm away from the road now, and just one quick point on that, and I know I always say it, but anytime you're crossing a road, no matter how busy or not that it is, you should not be vlogging when you cross that road. You should always stop vlogging and be mindful of the traffic and everything that's around you. Right, so what I'm going to do now in this video is I'm going to go into 2 sections. One section is me just reeling off a load of bad points to do with the GoPro Hero 8 Black and, well, the media mod as well. I will just reel them off in no particular order, and then what I will do, I will go into the good points and I will just reel them off in no particular order. Now, 2 things with this is coming from the point of view of a vlogger, and I know I don't technically count as a vlogger, but you know what I'm doing here is vlogging, so this is all about the use for a vlogger, although a lot of it will apply to just the use across the board of the Hero 8 Black and the media mod. Also, there will not be tons of like cutaways. In fact, there'll be no cutaways. The reason for that is because everything that I'm about to go through here, I've already gone through at great length in other videos. I now have a playlist which is close to 50 videos just about the Hero 8 and the media mod, and there will be a link here, a little overlay on the appropriate devices that take the overlays, and if not, there's going to be a link in the description where you can go and see that playlist and see all the bits that I've been talking about in this video. Anyway, so on with the lists. Okay, so to start off the bad stuff then, GoPro Color. Right, as far as I'm concerned, GoPro Color is almost next to useless if you intend to get a decent color out of what it is that you're filming. I tend to find that GoPro Color can massively oversaturate your colors and stuff, and that you will get no matter how you attempt to expose it as well, or no matter what you run through with the white balance, you will get that as well. And on the point of GoPro Color, on all those blown out flared colors and all the rest of it, in with that is the exposure as well. I have not been able to find one exposure routine which will work for me when I'm out and about, going in and out of shadow and doing vloggy stuff. Because don't forget here, these points that I'm talking about here are mostly to do with vlogging. And when you're out and about vlogging, you cannot start locking off to manual settings and getting one exposure correct, then walk around a corner, redo it, walk around another corner, redo that. No, you can't do that. What you've got to do is to set everything in a certain way, whether that be fully manual or, you know, some kind of halfway house between manual and auto settings. Hit record and then just get on your merry way and do what you're supposed to be doing. And in that instance, I can't find anything that will expose correctly for the Hero 8 Black. And for the best part, when it gets sunny, it just starts flaring out. Now, I'm also going to have to put in GoPro Flat into the bad list as well, but GoPro Flat is a double-edged sword because that will also go into the good list as well. Now, the reason why I've got to put it into the bad list is because generally most people who are doing stuff like vlogging, you know, they don't particularly want to start like having to resort to color correction and stuff like that in post. What they want to really do, like myself when I do stuff like this, is chop up the picture and export it, literally make it that easy. So the only problem is in order to get anything like consistently decent, and that's if you're still on the luckier side, you would have to use GoPro Flat, but mess about with it in post. So that's why I'm putting GoPro Flat as one of the bad points, because the only way that you can really use it requires more intervention in post-production with it. Then there's the internal microphones as well. Now, I appreciate some people seem to think that the internal microphones on the 8 are better than the 7, which was better than the 6. Well, if truth be known, and from my point of view, they were all bad. Do you know what I mean? So there's no point turning around and saying that one bad microphone sounds better because you've compared it to another bad microphone. The bottom line is, All the microphones on all the GoPros 5, 6, 7 and 8, the built-in microphones, none of them are that good. It's as simple as that. And the 8 didn't necessarily make things any better either. It was just a different flavour of something bad. Now the next bad point is something that I'm suffering from right now, and I've had to wait a while, but I can't carry on waiting until it disappears. And that is, I am getting condensation behind the front glass on the camera, which looks like it is actually developing on the lens itself behind the front glass. So yeah, that condensation, definitely a bad point. And on the point of that front piece of glass that sits in front of the lens on the Hero 8, a classic example of a company who already had something that was a good idea, then turning it into the worst idea in the world. So on the 5, 6 and 7, that front glass piece, you could actually remove that if it became damaged, scratched or broken. But now you can't do that on the 8. It is totally fixed to the front of the camera. Now there's two things there. One, I'm not entirely sure if that front piece of glass actually does UV filtering, so if it does, there's a UV filter gone. But second as well, you know, once you've broken that glass, you're highly likely to then start damaging the lens itself. And that's assuming that you didn't take out the lens when you took out the front piece of glass in the first place. And then there's that whole thing with what we have now learned to call GoPro fingers. Yeah, I mean, there was actually something made up for that as well, to call it as something rather than just the GoPro mount. But anyway, yeah, that retractable finger system underneath the 8 is an absolute pain, because the problem with that is, depending upon what you're mounting to and how you're mounting it and the type of screw you're using, it's near on impossible to get at the thing when you need to get it off dead quick and stuff. I mean, that actually falls in line with the complaint that I'm going to put in as far as the actual media mod is concerned, because that's where it massively affects it. And then there's the whole problem of the Hero 8 crashing, and these crashes can occur either when you're recording or basically when you're not recording, and maybe you might be just wanting to preview footage. And as far as the crashing is concerned, I think I may have identified one which is reproducible, and that is when you're recording, and what happens is you get towards the end of the card, as it were, so you're running out of space on the card. What will happen, and this happens every single time it does this for me, the actual GoPro will just hang and crash, which requires you to pull out the battery and all kinds of stuff in order to get it back again. But when it does that, it'll quite often suggest that the only remedy is to reformat the card, when it isn't. Just pulling the battery out and putting it back in will tend to sort that out. Now you might think that you know, you could get around that one, because all you do, you just keep an eye on what you're recording and how much time you've got left. But if you're out vlogging and you're doing long takes, you're never looking at stuff like that, so quite often, even if you are being careful about that, you will get caught out by that one as well. And then there's the whole problem as well with the sensitivity of the user interface. Now with the user interface, you know, you definitely have to use bare fingers in order to make that work as well. So, you know, whilst I'm not going to lay into that as being a huge problem, because I think you have to accept that with a touchscreen device, the problem is that the sensitivity of that screen is absolutely mad, and you tend to double trigger stuff quite easily with it. And I've tried a number of things, either using it with or without protective glass filters on the back, and also trying to alter, like, you know, some form of sensitivity with it, and I've never managed to find a solution which gives me a very consistent kind of UI experience where I'm not double triggering stuff, or indeed I've got to kind of touch heavy, or I've got to start touching lighter and stuff like that. I just think that whole thing is still a bit of a mess. And so probably just like every other Hero 8 user out there, we were looking at the media mod as the element to bring balance to the force, but no, actually it's turned out to be Darth Vader. And I'd say the only really cool thing about the media mod, just like Darth Vader, and that's that it's black. But colour scheme aside, where do we start with the media mod? I mean, first and foremost, it has just been one of the most underwhelming pieces of hardware I've ever come across in my life, on a ton of levels. And first and foremost to that has to be the so-called shotgun microphone. I mean, come on, that to me was where I'd realised that GoPro had sunk to the lowest. Calling something a type of thing that it isn't. Because as we all know from the videos that I've made to show the inside of the media mod and to show the microphone arrangement and stuff like that, it is not a shotgun microphone. And not only is it not a shotgun microphone, it's not even a microphone system that has any kind of front-facing cardioid pattern either. So it is next to useless for vlogging on two accounts. One, it's an Omni mic system which uses some weird form of phase cancellation to try and blag you into thinking it has got some kind of directionality. But the other thing is as well, even just for its raw sound, it just isn't good enough. The sound quality is very, very bad out of them. And the next problem that I've got with the media mod, although this is actually a plus point because it allows you to have HDMI output, but the thing is, between the GoPros 5, 6 and 7s, they all had the HDMI built in. So what's happened here now is GoPro have forced anyone who wants to use a HDMI output to now have to buy a media mod just for that one thing, when on the 5, 6 and 7, HDMI was actually already built into the camera. Now there's probably other stuff there which are negative points directly to do with the Hero 8 itself. Stuff that I may have just like forgot right now, but there's definitely going to be stuff in there which other people have noticed which is going to be a hindrance to them. But let me just move on. Okay, so that'll just about sum it up, I think, for all the bad points that I can think of. Like I say, these things obviously will change from person to person because how one person uses one device compared to another will kind of determine what is good and bad for them. But anyway, now on to the good points. Cue tumbleweed. No, only joking. No, actually, there's a bunch of good points here with the Hero 8 Black. And the first one I'm going to have to mention is this one. If you buy yourself a GoPro Hero 8 Black and you're prepared to put a bit of time into it and to like show the world what you think of it on the good and the bad points and all the rest of it, you will inevitably grow your YouTube channel. Yes. The GoPro Hero 8 is actually a good investment for you to grow your YouTube channel, which is what I found, because what's happened since I bought the Hero 8 and with all the videos that I've done, the GoPro Hero 8 has actually increased the subscriber count on my YouTube channel, and it's also given me a lot more views, and it has also generated more ad income, and it has also given me more affiliate income as well from Amazon. So, you know, there's that. Now, being dead serious now, the GoPro Hero 8 has definitely brought in new subscribers onto my channel, and it's definitely increased my revenue and stuff like that. I could say right now that with between, well, you know, the affiliate links and stuff like that, or mostly the affiliate links, I've definitely probably paid for the best part of what I shelled out for the Hero 8, and probably most of its bits as well. So there is that for me personally that I definitely can't complain about, because it's been a good thing for me channel. And it's also led me into using it more, which obviously gives me some very good insights onto how it works and the good and the bad points. Okay, so proper good point number one then. Right, I actually like the form factor of the GoPro Hero 8 Black. Aside from the fact that, you know, what I've mentioned before to do with the physical things such as, you know, the fingers and, like, you know, the lack of replaceable front glass element, I really do like the form factor of the Hero 8 Black. And I know a lot of people don't, and this is where that point becomes very subjective. Me personally, I think it's fantastic. And on the point of the actual physicality, as it were, of the Hero 8, the side door, I think the side door was absolutely genius. Now, I know that most people have like not really took to that one. Me personally, I think it is an absolute must to have a side door on something, you know, for the likes of vlogging and stuff like that, because it just gives you access to the battery and the SD card really quickly. So if you're using the Hero 8 without a media mod and stuff like that, and you got it on like a pistol grip or another mounting system, you're in and out of the battery compartment like that. I think that's a fantastic thing. And then when you're in and out of that battery compartment and you've got to get at the SD card, yeah, sure, you know, people are saying, yeah, you know, you have to take the battery out to get at the SD card, or you got to have, like, you know, long fingernails and stuff. Me personally, I don't find it a problem to get at the SD card. Again, all part of that whole side door mechanism thing, I just think was genius. I just wished he would have put a microphone socket in there. And then when we get round to the back of the GoPro, I do think that the screen is a plus point. Now, I should have mentioned in the bad points the size of the screen, because by now we should be on a bigger screen for the GoPro. We're basically on the same screen as the 5, 6 and 7. And I never had a problem with them per se, as far as, like, you know, just it's a screen, can you see it? Yes, you can. So on the point of can you see the screen, I think the GoPro screens are great for that. You know, they're fairly vivid, and they're nice and bright if you want them to be. And I've never really had any problems at all viewing them in all kinds of, like, you know, lighting conditions. I'm not saying that they're the best screens for resolution, and I'm definitely not saying you can use them for gauging exposure and shots, but I just think that they're very good screens for what they are. Now on to GoPro Flat as well here, and like I said earlier, that is a double-edged sword. So the thing with GoPro Flat, if you're really lucky and you got like all your exposure done and all the rest of it, and you don't need to tool about with it too much in post, and indeed sometimes GoPro Flat can be just used straight off bat because you just happened to get lucky and the exposure worked, which basically meant that all your dynamic range was all there properly without any intervention in post, then yeah, GoPro Flat can be really good. But at the same time, it's not so good for people who just really want to get out there and like shoot some stuff, get in, chop it up and export it, which is what I tend to do. But if you're lucky, sometimes you can do that. But for the best part, you do have to do manual intervention. And even then, going back to the bad points that I'd said before to do with the likes of GoPro Color and the exposure routine, unfortunately, you will still be subject to massive blown out areas and flared highlights and stuff, unfortunately. But you can get amazing results with it. And then we get to GoPro's linear mode. And I don't care what anyone says, GoPro's linear mode is fantastic. It always has been, basically. I'm not too sure now, but did they introduce linear mode on the 3 Plus Black, or was it the 4? But anyway, GoPro's linear mode has just been an absolute game changer for vloggers and stuff, or basically for people who just want to record with a standard kind of like standard geometry and standard field of view, as it were, or basically a wide field of view with good geometry. So yeah, absolute massive thumbs up always for the linear mode in the GoPros. That's all the GoPros that have got that actually. Resolution of the sensor is absolutely fantastic. I have absolutely no problems whatsoever with it, and indeed it may well be the same sensor that's used in other like action cams or small cameras, but I just tend to find that, you know, when you've got yourself, you know, a proper well lit shot and all the rest of it, and you've exposed correctly, there is absolutely no problem whatsoever with resolution. And just to further that point as well, I think, you know, there's certain things to do with the pure picture quality that, you know, and this has got nothing to do with like, you know, things that mess up. This is just to do with the raw technologies. What people still have to remember with these things is that, you know, we are so lucky to be able to have, you know, certain things within such a small size. You know, I think people kind of lose perspective with this sometimes. So the actual, when you're able to get a greatly a proper exposed picture with the GoPro, or especially the 8, the actual resolution and everything is fantastic, and the geometry and field of view, it's all quite outstanding, to be honest, you know, when you've got the right exposure for it. So yeah, like I say, you know, when things are all working properly, it is absolutely fantastic. Stabilization, there we go, one word. There is nothing out there whatsoever that can compete with the Hero 8 for stabilization, right? All these people that have seen kind of like picking holes in the stabilization for this system, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with every one of everything that I've ever seen. Sure thing, low light, it doesn't perform so well. But then at the same time, most cameras with relatively small sensors, full stop, don't perform in low light properly. So that's not something that you can just levy at the Hero 8. And it does unfortunately have an effect on the stabilization. But when you're out in like decent light and all the rest of it, this stabilization is just absolutely fantastic. The microphone input on the media mod is ace. That's all I'm going to say. It's ace. It's stereo, so you can record left and right, which means if you want to, you can record 2 microphones if you want. And you can also go into line level mode on it and get the best possible signal going into your GoPro. Get yourself the most appropriate microphone that you're happy with and you're happy with the sound of it on the media mod, or indeed the original mic adapter, and I'm sorry, but it's game over for every other small camera system. Nothing can touch the media mod's audio quality or the original mic adapter's quality for your actual microphone input and stuff like that. They are absolutely fantastic. If, like me, you've managed to do some kind of modification to the internal microphone system on your media mod, and you've now got something in there which you're happy with to do like a really small system and close vlogging like this, and indeed this is one of my modified microphone systems inside of the mic system on the media mod, Once you've got something like that, I think it's fantastic, genius, fantastic, ace, fantastic, fantastic, genius, fantastic, ace, fantastic. Okay, so to just a very quick end summary, and despite all of the failings I think have happened with this GoPro and the media mod, I do have to say one thing very clearly right now, and that is when you've got it like exposed properly, and when it is not crashing, and when it's doing its job properly. And I know that's a bit of a tall order to be able to get yourself into that position in the first place when you've gone out and shot, like, you know, any number of shots and stuff, and you get back to edit them. But I do have to say, and this is me being really genuine, out of all of the small cameras, once you've got your setup really good for vlogging with the microphone and stuff, I'd say right now there is nothing around to touch the GoPro Hero 8 Black with whatever way you kind of, you know, set it up, whether that be with the original mic adapter or with the media mod. Once you're happy that you've got your setup for audio done with it, this is without a shadow of a doubt the best thing that you can use for vlogging. If you just want to have the smallest thing possible that you can put in your pockets, pull out, screw together quickly and get on with stuff, which is exactly what I've done with it today. Anyways, yeah, so there we have it. That's basically my kind of 4 or 5 month kind of roundup of all the stuff that I've experienced with it, and I will definitely carry on using it because, yeah, I do really like it at the end of the day, despite all the bad points. Anyways, yeah, so if you're interested in having a watch of all the stuff that I've done with the Hero 8, go to www.gopro9.com and that'll take you to the playlist for all my Hero 8 stuff. And then, if you're also interested in giving me a thumbs up, I'd greatly appreciate that as well. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to shoot off now because I've got to get back up. I've got to get back home and edit this up. And hopefully, for the best part, the picture's being okay. Anyways, I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.